Welcome. We're going to continue talking about the aftermath of World War I. Today we're going to focus on the peace negotiations after World War I. These lasted from January of 1919 to January 1920. They took place in Paris, France, and become known as the Paris Peace Conferences. So the war ended with the armistice on November 11th, 1918, and in January of 1919, leaders from the victorious Allies 32 countries or nationalities met to determine a peace for the end of World War I during the Paris Peace Conference. The Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and Ottoman Empire were not included. Neither was Russia. Negotiations continued until January of 1920, and Allies could not agree on many of the important issues, which caused the conferences to go on for roughly a year. The meetings were dominated by what you call the Big Three, which is France, Britain, and the United States. Some historians also include Italy in this group and call it the Big Four. As I said, Germany was not included in negotiations. Neither were any of the other Central Powers, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, or the Ottoman Empire. Germany agreed to unconditional surrender, which means they will stop fighting while negotiations are there and have to sign what is given to them or restart the war. But during peace negotiations, Germany was forced to get rid of most of their weapons and soldiers. Britain set up a naval blockade against Germany, which made things even worse for Germany. So now you have starvation, running out of food and supplies in Germany. And Russia was also not included. They exited the war in 1917. So although Russia fought on the side of the Allies during World War I and played a major role in the war, had 9 million casualties, lost more men than any other country. They were not part of the negotiations. And Russia also at this time was fighting a civil war. So the people who brought Russia into the war and fought on the side of the Allies were no longer ruling Russia at this point. They were going to be ruled by the Bolsheviks or the communists after the war was over. Meetings were dominated by the Big Three, France, Britain, and the United States. And these countries could not agree on many issues. We'll start off with the United States. The United States is led by Woodrow Wilson, who you can see here on the right of the screen. He represents the United States. He's the president. This is the first time a U.S. president participated in negotiations in another country. The U.S. was not involved in the war as long as Britain or France. They did not join until 1917, and they had much less damage because none of the fighting actually took place in the United States. The U.S. was opposed to harsh punishment for Germany. Woodrow Wilson had something he called the 14 points, which included just peace or peace without victory. He wanted to create the League of Nations to prevent future wars. The League of Nations was an organization of countries that would settle disputes between other countries without war through sanctions and diplomacy. The U.S. did not want Germany destroyed and did not want Germany blamed for the war. United States, specifically Wilson, believed that if Germany was punished too harshly after World War I, that there would be bitterness and lead to a possible future war, which actually ended up happening. France, George Clemenceau represents France. France wanted the harshest terms for Germany, and they wanted Germany to be punished. France was a longtime enemy of Germany. They fought Germany in a Franco-Prussian War in the 1870s. Or 1870s. France fought against Germany before Germany was even Germany with the French Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars. And they feared that Germany would invade them and wanted Germany to be punished. So Germany invaded France during World War I and previously attacked France during the Franco-Prussian War. France wanted Germany to return Alsace-Lorraine to France. Alsace-Lorraine was a French territory that was taken by Germany from France after the Franco-Prussian War, and this is a very rich industrial area that would really help France's economy. France wanted the demilitarization of the German army so that Germany would not be strong enough to invade France again. They want to limit the size of the German army to 100,000. They want them to get rid of their submarines and tanks and airplanes and really neutralize what weapons they can use. And they wanted a demilitarized zone in the Rhineland, which is along the German-French border so that Germany could not attack through that region. They also wanted Germany to accept complete blame for the war. This is called the guilt clause, where Germany would be forced to take full responsibility for the war and say that it was Germany's fault. And they wanted Germany to pay huge reparations. So reparations are payments to someone that you wronged. In this case, the reparations would be to France and other allies who had damages for the war and to pay back for some of the loss of human life and other things that took place during the war. And then you have Britain. Britain was represented by David Lloyd George. Britain was the in-between, kind of the mediator between France and the United States. Britain wanted more territory to maintain their existing colonies. A lot of the German colonies will become British mandates. Britain wanted to increase their naval supremacy over other countries, and they wanted France, a former rival, strong enough to protect itself from another German attack, but not too strong. And they wanted Germany strong enough to be able to trade and help Britain, but not strong enough to attack France and start another war. They also wanted Germany strong enough to kind of be a buffer zone between Western Europe and communist Russia. So these three countries, France, Britain, and the United States, dominated negotiations during the peace conferences, but there is a lot of dispute over what they wanted, particularly between France and the United States. France wanted a harsh punishment for Germany. They thought the United States was too soft with their just peace or peace without victory, but there were several other countries involved in negotiations, including France and Japan, or including Italy and Japan. Italy wanted land from Austria-Hungary that Britain and France promised to them when Italy joined the war. So Italy was promised a lot of land, not only in Austria-Hungary, but also parts of the Ottoman Empire, largely along the Adriatic Sea. Japan wanted to be recognized as a world power and be considered racially equal to the Western European countries. They wanted to be able to keep their territory they conquered in China and control of a lot of the areas in Asia. Now, Italy did not get all the land they were promised. They got some of the land that they were promised, but much of it was given to other nationalities and would eventually become part of Yugoslavia. Japan's racial equality part of the negotiations was shot down, although most people approved it. The United States and Britain specifically were against it, and it failed. And several other groups wanted independence from Austria-Hungary, Germany, Ottomans, and Russia. And you get a lot of new countries to form. Poland is reformed or recreated. You have Czechoslovakia, you have Yugoslavia, Romania gets more land, you have Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Finland, Ottoman Empire falls apart, you get Turkey, and then in the Middle East, you have several new nations formed from the Ottomans, but most of those nations are French or British mandates. Although 5 treaties were signed during the peace negotiations, the most famous is the Treaty of Versailles, and this is signed between Germany and most of the Allies, but not the United States. On June 28, 1919, this is several months after the end of the war, Germany officially ended their participation in World War I by signing the Treaty of Versailles. Many blame the Treaty of Versailles for being too harsh and say it helped start World War II. Others would argue that it wasn't harsh enough, and had Germany been split up or weakened further, they would not have been powerful enough to rebuild its army and invade Europe, which helped lead to World War II. Germany returned Alsace-Lorraine to France, which Germany took after the Franco-Prussian War. Germany was also restricted to 100,000 soldiers and not allowed submarines or airplanes. Germany was not allowed in the Rhineland, a demilitarized zone along the border of Germany and France, and Germany was forced to accept complete blame for the war against U.S. wishes and have to pay huge reparations, which France wanted, for damages and losses caused during the war. So Germany was hoping to get a peace agreement that much more resembled Woodrow Wilson's just peace, but instead gave up most of its territory, army, and money to France, Britain, and other people in the Allies. So this will help create tension in Germany, but you also have tension in Italy, who no longer trusts Britain, France, and the United States. Japan is going to be distrustful of the Western powers, America and Europe, and then several other countries are going to be upset with how things went in World War I, and there's going to be a lot of tension and distrust, which will eventually lead to World War II. So this was supposed to be a lasting peace, but less than 20 years later, you have another world war involving many of the same countries, and just as deadly. All right, thanks for listening. If you have any questions, let me know. Please make sure you guys complete the reading assignment for today, and get that done by the end of class, or save it and complete it over the weekend. If you have any questions, please email me. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later. Bye.